I've tried flashlights and headlamps. Here's a flashlight you don't even have to hold. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. I love light. You know, because being in the dark, literally and figuratively, sometimes stinks. And a lot of times you're working on something, maybe changing a tire, working on the engine, trying to fix something so that you can get the lights back on. And a lot of times you don't necessarily want to hold a flashlight. Sometimes you don't have a hat to clip on your flashlight. Sometimes you don't have the headlamp. This might be exactly what you need. In fact, I checked this out because a buddy of mine, Scott, said he lives on a boat and sometimes he has to go into small places and it's not a lot of space to have a separate flashlight, even one of the pen lights, you know, holding your hand like that, something like that. But this is a hands-free flashlight. It clips onto your hands, and I've tried some of these before, and I've been actually pretty impressed with them, and I thought, well, maybe this one might be the cat's meow of fingertip flashlight. Let's see how it works. All right, so here we have the DICEVER hands-free flashlight. You can see how it's generally supposed to work. Kind of looks like an Apple Watch there. I think that's your battery pack. And then the lights go on your fingers. So let's see what we got. Like this 2-chambered case here. Ooh. Each top is independent. That's interesting. Okay, so on this side, we get a charging cable. You probably don't have this because this is a USB-A to a proprietary charger. You can see how it has a couple of pins there. So that's interesting. So I was going to say, well, maybe it's just your standard USB charger, but it's not. So that's why it's nice to have this case because you got to have that charger. I was going to say that maybe one of the things that I prefer is to have a USB-C or even micro USB so that if you lose this charging cable, you aren't going to be out of luck, right? That you can find another cable. All right, this thing really does look like an Apple Watch. Has that kind of trail strap like loop here, which is actually really nice because I feel like this is really comfortable and easy to use. And I think you could use this on either hand. You can see how we have these cables here. They're almost like old school telephone cables when phones were corded back in the day. And then we have a little LED there, and we have a little, I think, silicone-like ring. And it looks like I can tighten these up. They're opened as big as they can get right now. And I'm just going to put my index finger through there. That's actually pretty comfortable. I mean, I don't need them holding onto my finger too much, but depending on what you're working on, maybe you do want them nice and tight. And then it looks like they swivel, so you can aim the little LED and you get 2 of those, all right? So what I want to do here is let's just do this on the right hand. And so I'm going to have the lights hanging out this end. But if I were doing this on the left hand, you would just do it the other way. The strap would be backwards, but you don't really care about that because once it's on. So I'm going to go ahead and put the old wrist in here, just like that. And you can see right under there, the charging port. So that's where the cable will plug into. So I'm just going to go ahead and tighten this down nice and tight, just a little Velcro strap. And now I can put the lights wherever I need them, index and thumb right there. And you can see they're now pointing forward. Okay, so how do you turn it on? Well, you get a little power button right there, little capacitive button, I'm guessing, right there. Tap it once. Ooh, get some different modes. High, low, off, right? So it's just that easy to turn this guy on, just like that. And now what I can do here is I really have all my fingers available, so I can have all the dexterity that I normally would, which isn't that much sometimes. But now I could actually work on something, and I've got light right where I need it. So it's actually probably very battery efficient because you're not broadcasting a lot of light from your headlamp or something and putting a lot of light in places that you don't need it. And if you're working on something in a tight space, that this would really probably be perfect for. So let's check it out in the real world. So here's an example. My kitchen is pretty well lit here, but if I go underneath the sink, I'm trying to work on something, maybe fix my InSinkerator or something like that. No light under here. Yeah, I could put a flashlight in my mouth or maybe use a headlamp, but my head actually isn't in a place where it would actually be useful light. My head is actually above the sink here. And so my hands might be down here trying to tighten something or see if there's a leak. So let's go ahead and turn this on and see if it works. All right. So there it is on. And I tell you what, I am liking that. That is a lot of usable light. This thing isn't meant to be a spotlight out in the wilderness hiking or walking or something, but you actually probably could use it. The problem is your hand would be swinging, right, as you're walking, and it's not really focused in the place that you need it. But look at this. If I were to actually get in here and figure out where the leak is coming from or tighten up something, this would be no problem. Or even finding stuff, you know, the little screw that I might have dropped. This thing is actually super useful. I thought it might be a little bit of a gimmick, but You have a really solid battery right here. I don't know how big this thing is, but it's actually fairly massive, but it's very comfortable. It's very convenient. If you've ever worn an Apple Watch or smartwatch, you're going to know how to put this on. But man, these little lights here weigh virtually nothing. So they're not impeding my movement in any way at all. But man, it works so much better than I expected. So, hey, if you work in tight spots, even though my room here is fairly decently lit, there are certain areas where there just isn't a lot of light, and this actually puts the light where I need it. So this may be one of the best little flashlights for some of us that work with our hands. If you want to pick this up, I'll put a link to it in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out.